या कुन्देन्दु तुषारहार धवला
या कुन्देन्दु तुषारहार धवला
या शुभ्रवस्त्रान्विता
या शुभ्रवस्त्रान्विता
या वीणावरदण्डमण्डितकरा
या वीणावरदण्डमण्डितकरा
या श्वेतपद्मासना
या श्वेतपद्मासना
या ब्रह्माच्युतशङ्करप्रभृतिभिः
या ब्रह्माच्युतशङ्करप्रभृतिभिः
देवैः सदा पूजिता
देवैः सदा पूजिता
सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती
सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती
निःशेषजाड्यापहा
निःशेषजाड्यापहा
ॐ सहना भवतु
सहना भवतु
सहनौ भुनक्तु
सहनौ भुनक्तु
सह वीर्यं करवावहै
सह वीर्यं करवावहै
तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै
तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै
ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ Welcome back everyone. So do you remember last time what was the message? Anybody remember? Dhruti, Drushti, Mati, Dakshim. You remember that now? Now you recall? So what is the message? If you have some important task,
Do not divert from it.
yeah, number one is determination, number two is do not divert from it, never lose sight of it. Mati is intelligence and Dakshim is capability. So those are the four things. If you have, you will never fail in your tasks, right? So that's very important. But there are so many things that can come in our way. So we will slowly start looking at some of these qualities. How will we develop determination? How will we develop never losing the sight of the goal? How will we develop intelligence? How will we develop the capability to deal with the enemies, right? But before doing that, we have to slowly understand who are the enemies within us, what kind of enemies we have, and what are the allies that we have in ourselves. We have some allies and we have some enemies, but they're all inside. The stories tell that everybody is outside, but they are not really outside, they are actually inside. So we will slowly build that. We will have so many small stories that we will look into. Okay, the first story, you mentioned Vinata Kadru. So you read that story somewhere, right?
Yes.
So what is the message, if you what you understand from the story? Do you know? Can you think of a message that it gives?
Maybe something like don't be like fooled too easily, or don't let greed overcome you, because Vinata, she opened the egg too early and one of her babies wasn't able to
Was half developed.
was half developed, so
Yeah.
he cursed her.
Yeah.
Just because Kadru, her kids came out like really quickly, like she had a lot of kids.
Right.
So
Yeah.
don't let greed overpower you.
Yeah. Good. That's one of the good lessons. But let's look at
Patience is also one of
patience. Yeah. Yeah. Humility, patience. Those are one of the virtues. So we will go through the stories of Kasyapa's wives. We have looked at already Daityas and Adityas. So we'll go through other stories also, other wives also. So Kashyapa is a Prajapati. So a lot of people think Prajapati means is a progenitor. So one who heads a big clan and lot of clans come out of him like that. That's how we think. Prajapati means, Praja means people, Pati means head. How do we think of them? A progenitor. Those are the kind of translations you will find. But Kashyapa Prajapati, I said how many wives? 13 wives. It's not like a man and women and multiple wives. That's not like that. We'll get to the meaning of the story later. But of them, Vinata, Kadruva, they are popular people, popular wives. Aditi is number 1, Diti is number 2, Danu is there, and Vinata, Kadruva, Sarama, Sarasa, like that, there are Krodhavasha. There are multiple, 13 of them. We won't discuss all of them, but we'll talk about only few, because that will help us understand who are our enemies and who are our allies. So Vinata and Kadruva are 2 wives. And they both prayed to Kashyapa. And Kashyapa asked, no, I'm very satisfied, pleased with you, what do you want? Then Kadruva said, I want very powerful 1,000 children. 1,000, lots and lots of children. Very powerful, very swift. They will run very quickly, move very quickly, very valiant. Said, okay. And then Vinata asked, I want only 2, but they excel in everything above all these 1,000. He said, fine, okay, I'll give you both. And then he went away. Make sure that you protect your children properly. And that's the word that he said, and then he went to his penance. And Kadruva laid 1,000 eggs. And Vinata laid only 2 eggs. But that's what they asked for, right? And after full 500 years, Kadruva's eggs hatched. And all these black and white kind of snakes, they came. They started crawling all over the place. So they became Sarpas, and some became Nagas. There are Sarpas and there are Nagas. They both were born. And Vinata got a little impatient. My sister had all her children and none of my eggs hatched. And she became a little bit greedy and thought maybe she should open it. So she cracked open one of the eggs. And there was only a half-formed baby. And he was so much in pain, so he cursed that you will be a servant for 500 years for committing this sin of opening or breaking your own eggs. So you will be in slavery for 500 years. Don't do the same thing for my brother, younger one. So let him completely develop before he hatches by himself. And then he will release you from that slavery. And after saying those things, he flew and went into the sky. Because he didn't have thighs, thighs are called Uru in Sanskrit. Because he didn't have them, he was called Anuru. So he's called Anura. So he became the driver or the chauffeur for Lord Sun's chariot. So because Lord Sun is so blazing, radiant and hot, burning all the worlds. So Anura went there to kind of tame him down, to reduce some of his intensity. So he became his chauffeur. And then after this happened, one day Vinata and Kadruva, they are walking along the seashore. It was kind of evening time, dusk time. Dusk time means light is veiling. So they saw a beautiful white horse far away. You know the name of that horse? Uchchaishravam. Uchchaishravam was one of the horses that came in Kshirosagar Madhanam. When they churned the ocean, there's so many valuable things came. And one of them is Uchchaishravam, this particular horse. So they saw that, and Vinata thought that it is completely white. And she said, see that white horse? Then Kadruva said, no, it's not completely white. Then Vinata said, bet, shall we have a bet? I think it is completely white. Then Kadruva said, no, I think its tail is black. So then they said, okay, what is the bet? The bet is that whoever loses will become a slave to the other. So Vinata and Kadruva, they agreed on this bet. And they went back because it is dark, they went back. And then Kadruva called her children and said, I want you to go and cover the tail with your bodies so that it will look black, so that I can win the bet. And some of them said, no, that is illegal, unfair, you can't do that. Then she cursed them. Because you didn't obey my word, you are all going to burn when Janamejaya performs the Sarpayaga. So there will be a king in the future. He will perform something called Sarpayaga. There you all will burn in it. And rest of the people, they said, okay, we'll agree to that. So in the morning, Vinata and Kadruva went alongside the ocean. They started walking. Then all these black serpents went and covered the tail, and they went and it's black. So Vinata became instantly a slave from there. And she has been in servitude for 500 years. She had to wait. And finally, the egg hatched, and an extremely radiant, huge, beautiful bird came, who is Vainateya, because he is Vinata's son, is called Vainateya. Kadruva's children will be called what? Kadraveyas, because of that reason. Okay? Because Kadruva's son are Kadraveyas. Vinata's son, Vainateyas. Aditi's sons, children? Adityas. Diti's children? Daityas. Danu's children? Danavas. So like that, that's how the name goes. It's interesting that they don't get father's name, they're getting mother's name.
Because
See
they
that?
only have one father, they have so many brothers.
I mean, you can call everybody Kasyapayas.
Yeah.
Too confusing.
Yeah, right? But anyway, it's an interesting pattern there. So then, he was born into servitude. So he is working like a slave as well. They are doing all the things. So one day Kadruva said, hey, I want to go somewhere and take me. And the Vinata has to take Kadruva on her shoulders and carry her and fly in the sky to take her wherever she needs to go, wherever she wants to see. And now he is born into servitude, so he is being employed as a slave as well. So one day Kadruva said, I want to go to this particular island called Ramanaka Varsha. Ramanaka Varsha is like, a lot of people call North America as Ramanaka Varsha. So that's where she wanted to go. And Kadruva was sitting on shoulders of Vinata, and all the serpents on Garutman's, like Vainateya's shoulder. So they were flying, the sun is blazing hot, and all the serpents, they kind of wilted away, and they lost consciousness. So they kind of, you fade out sometimes when it is very hot, right? So then Kadruva prayed to Lord Sun God, and they came back. And then when they came back, then she was thinking, how can I help my children to overcome this type of weakness? If they go into too much of sun, they're kind of losing consciousness, they're fainting out. So how can I deal with that? She was thinking. And around the same time, Vainateya went to Kadruva and said, I know my mother has been your slave. How can I free her from slavery? Can you give some exemption? Then Kadruva and everybody said, okay, if you go get the Amrutam, the nectar of immortality, we'll free your mother. Then Garutman, Vainateya said, okay, I'm going to get it. So then the long story, how he got there. But somehow he goes there. And then Indra and all the devas come to protect. Hey, you can take it. This belongs to the Swargam, heaven. You can take it. Then there was a fight. And Garutman blew his wings and all the devas flew away like little paper toys. And then Indra came and threw his thunderbolt, Vajrayudha. It has no answer. Like if he throws that, it will destroy anything and everything. But nothing happened. It only removed one feather off. That's it. It says such strong wings. So because he has such great and strong wings, in Sanskrit, wing is Garut. So one who has great wings is Garut man, like Spider-Man, like that. So Garut man. So Hanuman, you know how Hanuman got the name, right? How? Hanuman means lower jaw, strong jaw. Here's again, Indra threw the weapon, same Vajrayudham, and it only made a little bit of a scratch here. That's it. Therefore, he is known as Hanuman because he is such a great jaw. So, jaw man. Now he is wing man, Garutman. So, anyway, finally he defeated everybody. And Indra thought, oh my goodness, such a powerful person. Maybe I should make friends with him. And at the same time, when actually Garutman went to the Swarga, all devas saw him ablaze like next second sun, and they all wondered, who is this? And asked Agni, do you know him? He said, he is equal to me, and he is almost like God Vishnu. So like that they praised him. So devas know that he is almost like Vishnu. He is the past, present, future. He is everything. So anyway, Garutman has such a great important place. Vainateya Garutman. So finally he brought the Amritam. And he said, hey, I brought the Amritam here. And there was a little small thatched hut. And they put all the darbham there, grass blades. You know darbha?
Yeah.
Like when you do some rituals, they use little grass blades. So they put them all there. And they set the pot on it for them to come and drink. So Amritam is considered very auspicious. It's a holy thing. So you just don't go without brushing your teeth just to drink it. Hey, I want a cup. It's not like porridge, right? Or oatmeal. So they all went to take a bath. So they take a bath, and they went to take the bath. Indra came, he took the Amrita, the pot away, disappeared. They came back and there is nothing. So they were really wanting it. So out of greed, they started licking those grass blades. And those grass blades slit their tongue into two. So snakes have two tongues that way. So they became Dvijihva, means two tongues. So that's how the story evolves. Okay? And of course, this is a fantastic story to remember all the beautiful things. But of course, it doesn't really make sense. In the world, nothing can happen like this, right? Like how can, if you think of Vinata and Kadruva as humans, how can they lay eggs? 1,000 eggs, 2 eggs. And how can one egg take 1,000 years to hatch? So it is an allegorical story. So there are always, I said, there are two kinds of allegories. One allegory or one symbolism is that we can take and apply to our direct life. But one is much deeper for our spiritual life, right? So there are at least 2 levels that we have to go through and dig through. And now let's try to understand what this Kashyapa and having 13 wives. I think I mentioned it already. But who is Kashyapa? We think Prajapati, right? Prajapati means, Praja means people or children. Pati means somebody who's a head or something like that. That's why we call progenitor. But Praja is derived from the root word Ja. Ja means to take birth. Praja means firmly born or directly born. So any activities that are coming out of us are like our children. They are coming out of it. They are born out of us. They are all our prajas. All activities are our prajas. But the activities that we do, they proceed along different lines of thought. Everything that has to do with your school, for example, that is all one path. Everything that has to do with your sports, that's all a different track. Everything that has to do with your music, dance, learning, all that, extracurricular activity, that is another path. Everything that has to do with any other hobbies that you have, that's a different path. For each path is called Patham in Sanskrit. The main leader of the path is Pati. We talked about the Pati. So there are so many activities that you are doing, but each activity has a main goal, has a main purpose, main idea. So that is Prajapati. So Kashyapa is such Prajapati who is the leader for all the paths that come out of us. Because that's the reason why he has 13 wives. Who could that be in us? Yeah?
Like maybe 13 paths.
Yeah, 13 paths are there. But who could be the leader of all the 13 paths?
Each wife. Like each wife.
Each wife is a Patni. Right? Patni is somebody you take along with you as the primary helper, primary assistant. Like if you are, like I gave you the example, if you are going on a hiking trail, who is the pati? You are the pati because you are walking on the path, and your GPS, which is really showing you the way, keep making sure that you never go out of the trail. That is your patni, number one, because that's a primary instrument. So all these wives, they have to be primary instruments. But who can be the pati, the leader of all the 13 things? It's us. Fundamentally us, the real seer within us. So Kashyapa is same as Pasyaka. Pasyaka means the observer, the seer. Whoever is seeing it, the observer is Kashyapa. But observer can direct the gaze onto anything. Now you are the observer. So you are the one seeing everything. You are the one feeling everything. Now you want to do a video track. So you will pay attention to it. The moment you start paying attention to it, you will start thinking about, okay, I need a camera, I need to have a tripod, I need to have a setup and a bunch of actors, people who will do the. So you will plan all those things. You will think only in that mode, right? You will not think about algebra, you will not think about calculus, none of those things, right? Because you're trying to shoot a film. You will think only about these things. So the mode of your path, the idea that you have on that path will determine what you are thinking. So like that, all these wives are those filters that the individual will put in. If you are hungry, you are in food mode now, or you're making cookies, you're preparing the dough and everything. So you're thinking about hunger, food and all these things. So like that, all these wives should be seen as the different windows the observer is looking through. So some windows that we already know, some windows are tough to understand. Aditi is tough to understand, so we won't go there. But we'll talk about two windows, Diti and Danu. So Diti means dualities, right? Everything is two. I said Diti means the khandani, everything is divided. Me, my room, me, my homework, me, my money, me, my friends. Like that, everything you are breaking me and mine, me and mine, me and mine. All the things that are born out of me and mine, that duality is Daityas. They are within us. They are not demons out there. Danu is another window. Danu is nothing other than Tanu. Tanu means body. Anything that has to do with the body or bodily preoccupation is all Danavas. Can you tell some of the bodily preoccupations? Can any one of you tell? Like if you are thinking only about your body, nothing else, what are some of the thoughts? Yeah? Hunger.
Yes, and my how would I say? I have a headache.
Yeah.
I'm
Bodily
too
pains.
lazy to lift up my arm.
Bodily pains. Any other ideas?
Like the things that you smell, you're like, oh, I smell this.
Smell good stuff, etc.
Or if you're like tasting something,
Yeah.
this is spicy.
Yeah. Food, basically.
Yeah.
Food is a bodily preoccupation. Hunger is a bodily preoccupation.
The senses.
Huh?
The senses.
Yeah, senses all come and do some bodily activity. They also do other things. Yeah.
Like if you're feeling some sort of pain.
Yeah, pains, bodily pains, knee pain, headache, feeling fever, all those are bodily preoccupation. Can you give any other ideas? How about beauty consciousness? Bodily preoccupation, right? So like that, there are so many bodily preoccupations, about 41 are identified, right? 41 Danavas are there. Those are bodily preoccupations. So Danavas are all bodily preoccupations.
But what about the ones that aren't identified and they're identified later? Then would there be one extra more Danavas born then?
Yeah, but generally 41 categories. It's not like just 41 items, 41 categories.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What if there are actually infinite?
There are infinite in reality, but that's why I'm telling 41 categories. 41 categories
Fall
are.
into one of
Generalize.
those pockets.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of those pockets, basically.
Yeah. And we have seen some of the Daityas, Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, primarily. We understand what Daityas, how Daityas play in us. So how do Daityas play in us? Like you think that there is something attractive, something sounding. Yeah. Yeah.
I want pleasure.
Glitter.
Pleasure house.
Yeah. Seeing the world as pleasure house. So we understand those things and how they lure us, how they attract us. And similarly, now let's come to Vinata and Kadruva. So Vinata, probably a lot of people know what Vinata means, right? Nata means bending. Vinata means very well. That means humility. Vinata is humility, and not only humility, patience. If you want to accomplish anything, two important virtues are humility and patience. So for example, you want to... Yeah.
Is that what she learned during the story? Like she cracked open an egg and she said, "I'm not patience."
Exactly, and your sister said that is one of the things to learn. So she learned it and she displayed it throughout. Even during hardships, she never really cried or complained. Only once she got succumbed to greed, and she opened the egg and she learned her lesson. But even then, she got one of the very powerful sons, even without these ties. But real patience gives almost godlike Vainateya, so powerful, and his wings are so powerful, so strong, and he can fly and do anything. Right? Okay, let's get back. We'll get into the meaning of all these things. Then what could Kadruva mean? Vinata Kadruva is told together. Adityas, Daityas are told together. Right? Vinata Kadruvas are always told together. That means Kadruva is some kind of opposite,
of humility
right?
and patience.
So, yeah. So,
Greed or
we'll come to that. Let's look at the name. Let's look at the name, then you will find out. So I told the meaning of Ka before. Anybody remember Ka? There is a book, Ka, English book. Name is Ka. Probably you haven't read that. Okay. It's all about all the stories about Indian mythology. So Ka means, I told several meanings: bliss, happiness, sukham, even head. Head is called Ka. Sukham, happiness, is called Ka. Bliss, ecstatic joy, all that is called Ka. And Prajapati and Brahma is called Ka. So Ka is a word, is a single letter word that has so many meanings. Dhruva means to run. Dhruv means to run. So Kadruva means running for,
running for pleasures.
running for happiness, running after pleasures.
The headless chicken.
Yes, the headless chicken.
Yeah.
That's the reason why the snakes are always slithering. So I said snakes are two kinds. One is Sarpa, the other is Naga. Naga meaning we talked about Naga. What does Naga mean? Anybody remember? Na-aga. Aga means stationary.
No
movement. Naga means cannot be stationary. Always moving. It cannot be stationary. Sarpa means something. Serpent, English word serpent is derived from the Sanskrit root sarpa. Srap means to slither. To slide and slither. So that goes smoothly without giving any sound, kind of gliding action. So all the activities that we do are like that. They're constant movement. If you are doing some activity, are you stationary? No, it's opposite, right? If you are doing some activity, you are not steady. You are doing some activity. So Nagas are all those good activities that we do, that there's activities of course, but they will take us to a good benefit at some point of time because they are running towards Ka. Ka Dhruva. Right? They are running towards Ka. That means they will take us to some kind of sukham, happiness, pleasure or something. But in the interest of pleasures, it will keep us all the time moving. That's why they're called Nagas. Because they're always running after pleasure, always running after pleasure. So basically, these are the two things that you see as a Kasyapa. As a Kasyapa, you are the observer. You have so many pathways. You span so many activities. Some activities are school related, studies related. Some activities are sports related. Some are music, dance or whatever, that curricular activity related. Some are hobbies related. And some are probably activities that you have to do at home. So, but all these activities will keep you restless, will keep you moving. But some activities If you have the humility, if you have the patience, then they will liberate you. Because some of those things require enormous patience. Say you want to win Nobel Prize. How long is the path?
Like 20 years.
Much more.
60.
35 years.
50, 60 years, and there is no guarantee. You don't know whether you will get it
Yeah,
or not.
because Malala got the Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah, she didn't have to do anything.
Yeah.
She went against the gunmen. And but some people can get it without much accomplishment, but some people can get it with lots and lots of hard work. And some people will not get it despite of all that. So, but that's okay. We don't know what the end result is. The real activity requires a lot of patience and also humility. If you have rush for something, then you will lose it. Because how they lost Amridam, how they got so much shapa. Kadruva, because her tendency is to run towards things, she is very easy. She cuts her own children and doomed their future.
She basically kind of killed.
Yeah, basically killed them, right? So, but there is a deep meaning in all this, because as I said, Kadruva is what kind of activity? An activity
Takes us to happiness.
running towards happiness. So we have so many activities in life for happiness. We have a house, we have lots of processes to keep our cool, happiness, to manage all our happiness. All these things will have an end result. But falling into a trap with them, that's a problem. And similarly, if you have a big goal, like Hanuman's goal, a goal in which you have to have determination, you should never lose sight of the goal, because sometimes these goals are very, very far away. If you want to become a doctor, it's like 10-year project. So like that, you have long-term goals. You require a lot of patience, diligence, and humility also, because you might have to acquire a lot of skills. So that patience is a virtue. And if we don't have it, then problem arises. Okay, so what does it mean, like the Nagas' tongues have been slit, jihvas were dvijihva? Can you think of any inner meaning in that?
I think they just they have two. They want to taste one thing. They have one goal, but they always go in two ways different. In other ways, but to specifically relate it to the notion of taste, they want to eat one sweet, but then they always eat two other things rather than going always in one straight direction to eat the sweet.
Beautiful. Yeah?
Or that they don't have a specific path. They're always running after pleasure. So they want like multiple pleasures at the same time.
Yeah, they're
Specifically-
divided all the time. They're kind of
Divided.
dual
Or like,
mindset. Pull this way or pull that way.
But
Right?
why two?
Yeah.
Why not a trifork tongue? Why not a 16,000 fork tongue?
That's a beautiful question. So why not multiple, several slits? Only why two?
Because like wait, Daityas they're put into two paths.
They are divided too.
They're-
So whenever you say divided, the English word div, is itself means two. Yeah.
So there's
One way is to achieve, is to gain pleasures and gratification through delayed one, achievement. And then the other one is through just tamoguna, or just instant gratification. It represents
Beautiful.
delayed and instant.
Beautiful. You're thinking in the right way, exactly right way. That's the reason why jihva is used. So jihva means tongue in Sanskrit. Jihva is derived from, can be derived in two ways. One is ja for jayam, for victory. Another derivation comes from offering. But there is another word in Sanskrit, jihma. Jihma means deception. So jihma and jihva are not very different. So the tongue is deceptive. Everybody knows how tongue is deceptive. You know how tongue is deceptive?
It's through like the taste buds.
Exactly. Even if your stomach is full, it always says that I want more, I want more. It kind of deceives you. But at the same time, this is the one that is giving you the pleasure. So it gives you the pleasure, but it can deceive you because it is giving pleasure. Or it can help you gain victory. Because if you understand really what this is doing, then you have gained victory. So this is not just talking about tongue. This is talking our own inner nature. In our inner nature, basically, one thing is giving us pleasure. Like if we are Kadruva type, there is pleasure, but there is a deception also. So you have to gain victory. Although you get some temporary happiness, temporary goals you meet, you have to develop victory over them. You have to keep them under your control. And you can do that only by being Vinata. Right? So that is the inner meaning. We can go much deeper into this, but I don't want to. We'll stop it here and then we'll take some questions and see how Vinata attitude, how Kadruva attitude, both can be used. Kadruva attitude, you have to recognize Kadruva attitude is our enemy inside us, but you can use it as an ally. Vinata attitude is there within us. It gives a lot of strength, but that can also create some other problems. So we'll talk about those in the question and answer. We'll do a discussion. Okay? We'll stop here. So say the ending slokas. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah.
Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah.
Sarve Santu Niramayah.
Sarve Santu Niramayah.
Sarve Bhadrani Pasyantu.
Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu.
Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet.
Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om Sarvam Sri Krishna Arpanamastu. Smadgurubhyo Namaha.